Hey, this is Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Today I'll be showing you how to install a radiator fan kit from Tusk on your KTM or Husky dirt bike. Managing the running temperature of your bike is crucial to the longevity of your engine. Now when you're out riding these bikes, they can get really hot in the desert as well as under extreme riding conditions. So what Tusk did, they made a radiator fan kit that bolts onto the back of your radiator and keeps the temperature at a safe level. Now, this kit we're installing today fits 2016 and older KTM and Husky models, so be sure to type in your year, make, and model when you order this kit so you get the right one. To do this job, you'll need some common hand tools, rags, and safety glasses. We're also using a drain pan, and specifically, you'll need some Torx bits. Now for parts, we're using a Tusk digital radiator fan kit, and you'll also need some coolant. We chose to go with engine ice, but you can use whatever brand you're cool with. Don't forget to reference the instructions that came in your kit. We'll start out by removing our seat, our gas tank, and then we'll drain our coolant. To drain the coolant from the bike, we'll remove the radiator cap, and then we can take this 10mm drain bolt out. Then we'll make sure we have our drain pan underneath and drain all the coolant. With the coolant out, we'll next remove the louver. How we'll do that is press in on these plastic tabs right here and pop it forward. Next, we'll loosen up our radiator hose clamps and we'll remove these two mounting bolts. Then we'll remove this right side radiator from the bike. We've got all of our parts out of our fan kit. Now, one thing I want to point out is that this kit does not work with IMS tanks. It will work with other aftermarket tanks, even oversized ones, but that is one thing you want to keep in mind. Now, when we install the fan, we need to choose a mounting location on the radiator. It can be mounted towards the top, or you can flip it over, mount it towards the bottom, or anywhere in between. So you want to dry fit everything, make sure it fits upright, and then we'll choose our mounting points. Now we've gone ahead and double checked our fan fitment on the bike, made sure we have enough clearance. So our next step is to mount this fan up. And what we'll do to do that is use some low strength thread lock on these button head bolts that came in the kit. To install these bolts, it will take a little bit of pressure because we are creating the threads as we screw them in. Keep in mind, we're going into soft aluminum. So as we tighten these down, we don't want to get them over tight. So we'll lightly seat them and then we'll tighten them another quarter turn. Now we'll repeat the same steps on the other side. With our fan now mounted to our radiator, we'll reinstall it back onto the bike, tighten our hose clamps up, and fill it with coolant. Now, don't forget to reinstall your drain plug. A little trick to help bleed out all the air is you can squeeze one of your radiator hoses, and this will help any bubbles come to the top. With the bubbles out, we'll top off the coolant, and after we reinstall everything, we'll run the bike up to operating temperature, let it cool down completely, and check our level in the radiator. Inside the thermostat box that came in our kit, we have another white box. So we'll take these parts out, and it might be a good idea to lay all these parts out on a table, but we're just going to be careful that we don't drop anything out of it. So this is our temperature probe, and what this does, you actually slide this into your radiator on these fins. So you'll need to find a good spot where this fits. And we're looking right about there, looks pretty good for us. So another thing in this box, we have this thermal grease. So now that we've identified a fin in the radiator, we'll put about a half a tube of this grease into this cooling fin right here, and then we'll slide our temperature probe all the way down onto it. Now we're ready to install our fan wiring harness. And how we'll do this is we'll start back by the battery, but we won't connect these terminals to the battery yet. And we'll follow this harness under this tube right here along the frame, and we'll end up right by the coil. The next thing we'll need to do is find a place to mount our digital meter. So there's a couple common places for this. You can install it just in front of the gas cap or in front of this radiator cap right here. Comes with a couple sticky pads, so the surface isn't completely flat right here. And if we do mount it here, which we will, we'll be building up these corners a little bit to help it stick better. Once you've decided where you're going to mount your digital meter, you want to make sure the surface area is clean where you'll be putting your sticky pads. Now, we also thought it was a good idea to put our tank on and just do a dry fit to make sure it's not going to interfere with anything. The good thing about dry fitting our tank, we saw that we have enough room to turn this meter sideways, and that way we have a better surface area for the mounting and it'll be more secure. So I'll go ahead and take my tank back off, and then we'll go ahead and wire everything else up. Okay, we've got our sticky pads on our meter. So what we did, we cut a couple extra strips where this frame kind of bends over on the corners, and we'll go ahead, got that all cleaned up, and we'll stick it down. With our meter mounted up, we'll go ahead and plug all our connections in to their corresponding plugs. After that, we'll work our way back and zip tie the harness to the bike and make our way back to the battery. Then we'll connect our battery terminals. While we're doing this, it's also a good idea to use a little dielectric grease on our connections. With the harness tied down, we're now ready to connect our electrical terminals to the battery. Be sure to connect the red terminal or wire that has a fuse built into it to the positive side on the battery. The other side will be connected to your negative terminal. We're now ready to reinstall our louvers. We'll put our gas tank on and our seat. Then we'll start the bike and warm it up to operating temperature, making sure that the fan kicks on at 190 degrees. We'll let the bike cool completely, and then we'll recheck the level of our radiator fluid. Always remember, anytime you're starting your bike, do it in a well-ventilated area. And that's all there is to installing the Tusk radiator fan kit. This kit is available on our website with pretty much anything you could want for your bike. So be sure to check that out. We also have OEM and aftermarket parts. If you like this video and want to see more like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.